The decision I made 5 years ago changed everything about my life, and not in the way I expected. I moved into what was supposed to be a highly rated nursing facility, thinking it would give me peace of mind and relief from daily struggles. If only I had known then what I know now. Today, I'm sharing the painful realities that nobody tells you about nursing home living. Truths that could save you or your loved ones from making the same devastating mistakes. What I've learned could completely transform your approach to planning your later years. If this kind of honest, experience-based information is valuable to you, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel right now and activate the notification bell. I share these hard-earned insights weekly, and I don't want you to miss critical information that could protect your future or the future of someone you love. For over 30 years, I worked as a healthcare consultant specializing in elder care facilities. I toured hundreds of nursing homes, interviewed countless residents, and even helped draft policies to improve quality of care. I thought I knew everything about these institutions. Then at 72, after a minor fall that shook my confidence about living alone, I decided to follow the very advice I had given to thousands. Move to a professional care facility before a crisis forces your hand. I researched extensively, visited numerous locations, and selected what appeared to be an exceptional nursing home with glowing reviews, experienced staff, and beautiful facilities. I sold my home of 40 years, downsized my belongings, and moved in with high hopes. I believed my professional background had prepared me to make the perfect choice. I couldn't have been more wrong. Let me share one critical insight immediately. What looks impressive during a scheduled tour can be drastically different from the day-to-day reality. During my first week, I discovered that the attentive staff I had met during visits were primarily there for show during tour hours. The normal staffing levels meant waiting 45 minutes or more for assistance with basic needs. The beautiful common areas I had seen remained largely unused, with most residents confined to their rooms or parked in hallways for hours. The vibrant social calendar that had been presented to me consisted mainly of brief, understaffed activities that rarely matched what was advertised. This gap between marketing and reality isn't unique to my facility. Studies from the National Consumer Voice for Quality Long-Term Care have documented this tour versus truth phenomenon in facilities nationwide. What's most troubling is that even knowing what to look for, as I did with my professional background, didn't protect me from this bait-and-switch experience. Most people believe that nursing homes are strictly regulated, ensuring a basic standard of care and dignity for all residents. The painful truth is that regulations exist on paper, but enforcement is spotty at best. A comprehensive study by the Department of Health and Human Services found that over 90% of nursing homes have been cited for violations, yet less than 1% face serious consequences. The system is designed to give facilities multiple chances to correct issues, often at the expense of residents' well-being during those correction periods. If you're finding this information helpful, I'd truly appreciate if you could give this video a thumbs up. I'd also love to hear your own experiences or questions in the comments section. And if you know someone who's considering a nursing home, for themselves or a loved one, please share this video with them. The information I'm about to share could save them from tremendous heartache. Now, I want to walk you through the 5 most painful truths I've experienced firsthand about nursing home living. Realities that marketing brochures and guided tours will never reveal. The first truth concerns the devastating loss of autonomy. I understood that moving to a facility would mean compromising some independence, but I wasn't prepared for how completely my daily rhythms would be disrupted. In my own home, I enjoyed staying up late reading and waking around 9 a.m. At the facility, lights out was strongly encouraged by 9 p.m., and breakfast was served only between 7 and 8 a.m. Missing mealtimes meant going hungry or receiving cold, unappetizing leftovers. Margaret, a former college professor who arrived shortly after I did, lost 15 pounds in her first 2 months because the rigid schedule conflicted with her lifelong eating patterns. She had never eaten breakfast, preferring a substantial lunch and dinner. The facility offered no accommodation for this preference, insisting that their schedule was necessary for operational efficiency. What they called efficiency, we experienced as forced conformity. The second truth relates to medical autonomy. I arrived with a carefully calibrated medication schedule developed over years with my trusted physician. Within weeks, the facility's doctor, who spent less than 5 minutes with me during our initial meeting, had changed both my medications and their timing. When I questioned these changes, I was labeled non-compliant in my chart. I later learned that many facilities have financial arrangements with certain pharmaceutical providers, influencing prescription decisions in ways that may not prioritize resident well-being. Robert, a 78-year-old former pharmacist in our facility, meticulously documented how his carefully managed diabetic medication regimen was altered upon admission, resulting in dangerous blood sugar fluctuations. Despite his professional knowledge and protests, it took his family threatening legal action before his original medication plan was restored. Many residents without healthcare backgrounds or assertive families simply suffer through inappropriate medication changes. The third painful truth involves the unexpected social environment. Marketing materials portray nursing homes as communities where seniors forge new friendships and enjoy rich social interaction. The reality I found was starkly different. Nearly 70% of residents in my facility suffered from moderate to severe cognitive impairment, making meaningful connection difficult. Activities were designed for the lowest functioning residents, leaving those of us with full cognitive abilities unstimulated and isolated. Helen, once a vibrant community organizer, confided that the most devastating aspect of her 2 years in the facility was the intellectual isolation. "I feel like my mind is atrophying faster than my body," she told me during one of our rare meaningful conversations. The handful of residents who could engage in stimulating discussion became a lifeline for each other. But these connections were too few to combat the pervasive loneliness. The fourth truth concerns the financial deception that often accompanies nursing home care. While the base rate I agreed to seemed reasonable, I wasn't prepared for the explosion of additional charges: extra fees for medication management, personal laundry, transportation to appointments, and even activity supplies. My monthly costs ballooned nearly 40% above the advertised rate within the first year. James, who moved in around the same time I did, had carefully budgeted for his care based on the advertised rates. Within 8 months, he had exhausted his savings and was forced to apply for Medicaid. Once on Medicaid, he was moved to a less desirable room and found that many services became suddenly unavailable to him. This two-tier system of care, one for private pay residents and another for those on Medicaid, represents one of the industry's most shameful practices. The fifth, and perhaps most painful truth, is the subtle but pervasive erasure of personal identity. In my professional life, I had been respected for my expertise and judgment. In the facility, I became merely the resident in room 237, or the diabetic with mobility issues. Staff rarely bothered to learn about my former career, my interests, or my preferences. Care became transactional rather than personal. Dorothy, who had been an accomplished pianist, found that despite mentioning her musical background during admission, staff expressed surprise 9 months later when family members mentioned her concerts. They never asked, and after a while, you stop volunteering information that no one seems interested in, she explained. This erasure of personal history and identity contributes significantly to the depression that affects over 50% of nursing home residents. What makes these truths particularly valuable to understand is that there are alternatives that few seniors are encouraged to explore. Home-based care services have expanded dramatically in recent years, often at comparable or lower costs than facility living. Co-housing arrangements, where seniors share expenses while maintaining independence, provide both autonomy and social connection. Technologies supporting aging in place have become more sophisticated and affordable, addressing many of the concerns that drive decisions to enter facilities. The most important insight I can share from my experience is this: once you surrender your home and move into a facility, reversing that decision becomes extraordinarily difficult, financially, logistically, and emotionally. The systems are designed for one-way movement, with few supports for those who wish to return to independent living. After 18 months in the facility, I made the challenging decision to leave. It required the help of my daughter, significant financial sacrifice, and enormous bureaucratic navigation. Many of my fellow residents who wish to do the same simply couldn't overcome these barriers. So what can you do with this information? First, thoroughly investigate all alternatives to nursing home care. Consult with geriatric care managers who are independent from facilities and have no financial incentive to recommend institutional care. Visit potential nursing homes unannounced at different times of day and speak with current residents privately if possible. Review state inspection reports, which are public information but rarely volunteered during marketing presentations. Most importantly, create specific, legally binding advance directives that go beyond medical care to address your living situation preferences. Standard healthcare proxies rarely cover these decisions in sufficient detail, leaving well-meaning family members to make life-altering choices without clear guidance. For those with loved ones currently in nursing homes, regular, unpredictable visits are essential. Facilities consistently provide better care to residents whose family members appear frequently and unpredictably. If visiting in person isn't possible, technology now allows for virtual check-ins that can be equally effective in ensuring appropriate care. If you haven't already subscribed to this channel, now is the perfect time to do so, and activate the notification bell so you won't miss my upcoming videos on navigating alternatives to nursing homes and protecting your rights if you do choose facility care. Please give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful, share it with someone who needs this information, and leave me a comment with your questions or experiences related to elder care decisions. Remember, the choice about how and where you spend your later years belongs to you. Don't surrender that choice to a system that may not honor your individuality or prioritize your well-being. The painful truths I've shared today aren't meant to frighten you, but to empower you with knowledge that can lead to better decisions. Your later years should be lived with dignity, autonomy, and joy, and with the right information, they can be.